Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls.
Hi, Rebels! This is Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, the interview. I'm your host, Jayla, and today we're talking to Julia Boorstin. She narrated the story of 4 awesome entrepreneurs, Michaela Ulmer, Anjali Sood, Aileen Lee, and Rihanna. If you haven't heard that amazing episode, pause, go take a listen, and come back. We'll wait. Hi, Julia. Can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, my name is Julia Boorstin, and I am a TV reporter for CNBC Business News. I report on media companies and technology companies, and I love to tell stories about innovative startups.
Wow. What is that like, being a TV reporter?
Being a TV reporter means that every day I try to figure out what stories are going to be most interesting and valuable to our viewers. We have to figure out what stories to tell, and I do that by making a lot of phone calls and talking to a lot of people. Then I interview people. I tape interviews. Sometimes I interview them live on television, and then I write a script, which is like an article, but in a television format.
Ooh, we use scripts for this podcast sometimes too. What's your favorite thing to do on the job?
I love asking questions. Asking questions is just who I am. Sometimes it would annoy my friends. I would ask so many questions, but then they realize that I ask questions because I care. Asking questions is my way of figuring things out.
Yeah, I like asking questions too. I guess that's pretty obvious. What would you say to someone who wants to try TV journalism like you?
You just have to get out there and have an idea and ask questions. You could write an article about anything, and you don't need to know what the article is going to be about until you've started doing some interviews. So you could say, hey, I'm really curious about the construction that's going on in my town square. So you know you're interested in finding out more. You bring your pad of paper and your pen, you go ask some questions, you write it down, ask some more questions, write it down again, and then you could sit down and put together an article that is explaining what you were curious about and the answers you found. And that's an article that you can write without anything else other than your own curiosity.
That's super cool. Thank you. And what about this story? You narrated the story about some awesome entrepreneurs. What makes this piece so special to you?
I love telling stories of women who are succeeding in business. And I have met so many remarkable women who are exceptional. And I think it's important to tell these women's stories because they have had to do so much more and to try so much harder. I think the more we tell stories of remarkable women who are succeeding in business, the more they won't be in the minority anymore, because these stories should inspire young women, young rebel girls to be the next leaders.
Oh yeah, you know a lot about female leaders, right?
I'm writing a book on female founders. I'm focusing in on women who have defied the odds and started startups. A lot of them are unicorns, just like Aileen Lee talked about. And I think it's really important to talk about these women who are in leadership roles. And I think it's really important for companies to have women performing at all levels of their company because women contribute just as much as everyone else.
So true. Okay, so if you could go back in time and tell your kid self one thing, what would it be?
It would be, don't be afraid. Don't wait until you know enough, until you're ready, until you've done all the preparation. The truth is that nobody really knows what they're doing. You just have to get out there and try.
And finally, what do you think makes you a rebel girl?
I'm willing to ask the hard questions. I go into intimidating situations. I interview people who are decades older than me with a lot more experience, and I ask them the tough questions, and I'm not afraid. Often I know they're not going to like it. They're going to get angry, but sometimes on live television, I have to ask the hard questions. That's what makes me a rebel girl.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Julia. And thank you out there for listening. Until next time, keep asking questions and stay rebel.